Welcome back to the news, everybody. Overwatch 2 Invasion is out, and it has launched to quite a interesting situation. I mean, it quite literally broke on Steam because, yes, this isn't just Invasion coming out. This is the game moving over to Steam, where it can, of course, access literally millions, perhaps billions of page impressions, and because it's a free-to-play game, it actually should experience quite a good take rate. That means that for Blizzard Entertainment, this is a very large deal. And it's a large deal that unfortunately immediately ran into the ground. However, first, I do have to talk about John Cena. Yes, they did a whole hacker thing with the Enigma character who turned out to be John Cena, doing a live promotion. Some people got very happy and excited, thinking, wow, will John Cena be in Overwatch? And the answer is no, John Cena will not be in Overwatch. You will have to still rely on your Bing Chilling memes to continue your Cena experience. Elsewhere, then, they did quite a lot of animated content. They were certainly pretty, but they were essentially retreading story that's been present in and around Overwatch since the launch of the game. And then following those, we got a short for Sojourn. And fundamentally, Invasion is being painted as the first real step towards Overwatch, like actually having a story. Because, not to shock you, you know when Winston hits the big recall button? Yeah, all this stuff basically happens immediately after that. Just like this, today's sponsor, is happening now. Magic Spoon, right, cereal. It's often delicious, but I haven't had an option that's worked for me until now, because Magic Spoon brings that childlike nostalgia into a fun and delicious cereal that will actually help you meet your goals. And that's because each bowl has got 4 to 5 grams of net carbs per serving, while packing in 13 to 14 grams of protein and 0 sugar, which is incredible. Now, I've got a code for you. If you use Bellular at my link, you'll get $5 off. They literally make cereal as a thing actually compatible with my health goals. That's why I love them so much. Also, being on a higher protein diet, I just know it works better for me, so that they do that is awesome. Now, the variety pack, it's got frosted and fruity, also cocoa and peanut butter, and man, see the peanut butter? It is absolutely incredible. And even just as a quick gaming snack, it's such an appealing option. Plus, it's also gluten and grain-free. They use natural flavors. And if you're doing keto, they're actually compatible with that too. Of course, the less carbs, the merrier, which is great. Magic Spoon does exactly what I want. It tastes terrific. It's got all the macronutrients, great texture. I'm super impressed with their products. They're so confident they've got a 100% happiness guarantee. If you're not happy, you get all your money back, no questions asked. So click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen and use code BELLULAR for $5 off, or just go to magicspoon.com/bellular, and of course you'll save $5 today. Thanks to Magic Spoon for supporting the channel and joining us. Give him a big welcome. With that said, let's roll. All right, show him a warm welcome. There's certainly a tasty bunch, and let's talk about Overwatch Invasion then. So for what this is, it's both a season and an individual set of paid story missions that, of course, I have played. Now, there's quite a lot in the game, technically speaking. We've got Alari, a new support hero. She actually looks really cool, to be honest with you. We've got 3 Invasion story missions, which are, of course, sold separately for $15. Then from September 19th, there are 3 event modes from Overwatch 2 that will return. The Battle for Olympus, Star Watch, which wasn't particularly liked, and Mischief and Magic. There's also Flashpoint, a new core mode with 2 purpose-built maps that are pretty big, Hero Mastery for 6 of the heroes, and weekly limited free co-op events, starting with King's Row from August 10th to September 5th. There's also some other features like more progression, a new battle pass, and 2 bundles. Yes, 2 consumption occasions around access to the new content. Now, there's been some confusion here. Some people think that the co-op, more horde mode style thing is actually paid, the King's Row thing, when it actually isn't. And the way it works is, in theory, right, the Invasion bundle costs $15. Now, in it, you could say, has a cost breakdown of $9.99 for the coins that are included, which is 1,000, and that's enough for a battle pass, and then $1.66 for each of the missions, plus a bonus unlock of Sojourn and a legendary skin. But again, those skins are part of the monetary ladder, so the perception is you're paying $15 for each mission, which you literally are, because that's the only way you can access them. Now, Blizzard, if you could buy these missions, let's just say for $6.99 or $7.99, because okay, a little bit of a cost premium for the missions, and you could say that you want to throw the extra coins in as a bonus deal. But if you let people buy these for like $5, $6, $7, $8, and then you tried to make the $15 thing, so good, it's irresistible to the dedicated players of the game because of the coins and shit, then we would be having a different conversation. Because you see this content for like $5, $6, $7, thumbs up, right? But it's not that. It's 15. It's a bit of a different situation. And with the Battle Pass, I do not count that really as a full thing that you're buying much because, well, life can get in the way and then you are held at ransom to finish your Battle Pass by paying for tier skips, which is not cool. Now, to talk about the Steam launch, this has been a very big deal for the game. It's effectively a big new product launch. It's going to get us back to the core of the narrative, finally push the Overwatch universe forward, and it's also going to run the season through to the anniversary of the game's launch. And from the business point of view, it does make sense, right? As much as Blizz love Battle.net, where they get all the money, Steam is where people are. And these Activision Blizzard King products, they're going to earn over $50 million in Steam. And because of that, they're going to benefit from the 20% revenue split. Yeah, the 20% revenue split. So it's not as bad as the 70-30 that many people just default to thinking with Steam. And the importance of Steam is such that even with there being less revenue per customer because of the split, Activision have publicly stated they actually regretted pulling Call of Duty from the service, which it's quite something. Now, to continue with Invasion then, this is definitely breaking glass in case of emergency. So this should definitely cause a surge of monthly active users, even if that's just people who click the play button and then, don't get turned into retained users, as is what seems to have happened with Overwatch 2's launch on Battle.net. Now let's talk about that Steam review score. So as of the time of this screenshot, it was 17% of 20,000 reviews. And to give you an idea of the velocity here, now it's at 11% of 39,000 views. So people are certainly performing the good old-fashioned review dogpile here. This is absolutely to be expected. And if you look at those reviews, they're very low playtimes. Now, maybe they are high playtimes in Overwatch 2 and Battle.net, of course, but ultimately this just reflects how people have obviously got a pretty negative perception of this game going into it. What with the full-fat version of PvE being cancelled, the nickel and diming, yada yada yada, we've all been through this a million times. Now, to take a look at the most helpful reviews, so these are the ones that the Steam community are really upvoting to be shared with people because they're important. The people who make Overwatch porn work harder than the people who make Overwatch. So that's not a great thing to see. Now, this is a profoundly, I would say, unfair and false review, but don't nuke me for being a shill yet. I do have a reason. A lot of people worked very hard on Overwatch 2. The problem is their work got thrown into the bin. I think, was it Tracy Kennedy, who was a producer in Overwatch? It was like a thing going on where a lot of game developers were tweeting about like work they had done on projects that hadn't went well or projects that had been like cut or cancelled. And reading in between the lines of her tweet, and I think a few other people on that team, yeah, people legit straight up worked for years on hero talents, the actual hero masteries, all of that stuff, only for that to be thrown into the bin. So the only difference here is the people who make the Overwatch Rule 34, they actually ship their work. Whereas in this case, the people who make Overwatch work very hard, but a lot of their work doesn't even get shipped. And a lot of this sentiment, though, does continue, right? It's all of the things that you could imagine, with, of course, a healthy dose of Team Fortress 2 galore, because obviously TF2 has had a really positive resurgence lately on the back of its very strong summer 2023 update. But it actually turns out things are a bit more complicated than that. So if I'm here in Overwatch 2, right? Let me just go and take you to the Invasion Bundle. Now, the Invasion Bundle, people will have had to have actually had this on their Steam account and played it to be able to leave a review. And currently we have 11% of just shy of 1,000 reviews being positive. And when you actually go down into these comments, what's actually going on? In many cases, it's not a review of the DLC. It's a review of the fact that they purchased the thing via Steam and it's not there. Yeah, did not get access and no tokens. Oh my god. Blizzard, fix, please. Okay, guys, after restart, it's working. Basically, there were some quibbles. And as of this morning, Friday in the UK, numbers were still climbing up, but we did have an all-time peak of 52,349. Right now, as I think more of Asia's waking up, we're at 70,677. Suffice to say, though, for a very big AAA, humongously marketed product, this is absolutely not what they're going to be wanting. That being being said, we are actually seeing that Overwatch 2 by revenue is the 4th highest generator on the Steam platform currently. This certainly will feel like a validation then of the decision to publish on this platform, regardless of the user feedback, because at the end of the day, that's all beans. And yes, when you sort Steam like this, it is actually by revenue, and that is why the Steam Deck is always up there, because obviously a Steam Deck costs at a minimum £350, with of course the hero of the day being Baldur's Gate 3, still at the top of that chart, selling for 50 quid. Now then, let's talk about the PvE missions and the reaction. How did all this pan out? Honestly, I would say about as well as people expected. I'd say it's a hard sell. I could do some other people's opinions. I did play it myself, so I'll get into that soon. Stylosa, it's complicated. Excellent story wrapped around mid-gameplay that would have felt outdated in even 2019. I think that's pretty rough. A lot of that. Lapsed, Tyler Culp, even from PC Gamer. Lapsed Overwatch players looking to return probably won't find enough to chew on here. Each mission lasts around 15 minutes, and replaying them as different heroes will only earn you some extraneous info on what the cast is up to these days. Invasion is junk food for Overwatch players hungry for the stagnant plot to finally move forward. I don't think it has figured it out quite yet, but to finally have a playable blueprint gives me hope for what they can do in the future. And I think a lot of that is quite fair. That being said, even things like this saying beautifully detailed and emotionally charged. What I would certainly say here, it is representative to me, the cinematics anyway, of, while there are a few glimmers, peak everything that is weak about Blizzard's writing and Overwatch's writing specifically. It is saccharine to the point of really absurdity. There is no tension. They cannot let a moment actually last before a humongous sweeping orchestral thing comes in and it's like, oh, here's the hero, big dramatic swell. It just does all these things that don't make the universe feel real. I don't know. It feels like it is children's hero media, to be honest with you. You could even look at something like Avatar: The Last Airbender and people will be like, some people will be like, that's a children's show. No, it's really good. It's really good. This feels more childishly done easily way more childishly done than the likes of Avatar. And I guess Avatar's a pretty high bar, but still, I think you get my point. If you wanted like a sense of threat and drama and to see these heroes being pushed into places that had them act as more than just generic sort of likable voice line delivery boxes, you're not really going to get that here. I think where it's strongest is with like Torbjorn, Reinhardt, Brigitte. So basically the final mission's like way better than the other two, I would say. So that's where it's like firing a little bit stronger and there's some good spectacle there. Basically you're setting up these big turrets, like blasting big spaceship. There's like a really big mech, and they actually innovate a bit in the gameplay in the third mission where you're placing turrets around the place, and it's actually a fun little mode. But yeah, I suppose from the narrative perspective, I just think I look at a lot of, like some American media. The way Disney seems to never commit to anything, and Disney makes like all of their characters feel very, very forced, it's like a lot of unearned stuff going on. It feels like that. It just doesn't feel like it's artistically that strong. It doesn't feel like it's saying anything other than, heroes are good. We all need a hero. But it's like, man, you've got to evolve your narrative design beyond that, This honestly does feels like mid-children's content in terms of how they are writing things. If you're to think of the big Reinhardt cinematic from the past, the Bastion sort of like PTSD one, even, the brothers having their little clash, like those actually allowed for some tension to be going on, whereas these ones just felt like a whole load of nothing. I think they need to do better. I think they need to realize, this is a game that is mostly not being played by 12-year-olds. It can be more than just some cartoon that you watch on a Saturday morning. I don't know. I just think it's creatively very, very weak. Even things like, you basically find an email that's like, don't worry, turns out all those robots you're fighting aren't sentient. They're just manufactured by the big machine. And you're like, cool. Now it's even more toothless. Can I have something going on here? No. Overwatch narratively is profoundly uninterested in being anything other than vapid, saccharine, feel-good tripe for, I don't know, maybe people who struggle to deal with reality. I think it's, yeah, I just think it's creatively quite embarrassing, frankly, that a bunch of adults who really should know better and, it's just so amateur. Like, even the way that every one of these cinematics, it ends with a big orchestral rise. It's like, what is the... Are you just, like, trying to get everybody to stand up in the theater and clap? Which I know is a thing that goes on in the States. It doesn't go on over here, thankfully. But it's so confusing to me on a narrative, like, in the narrative perspective. It's so weird. Yeah. If I see like another big orchestral rise at the end of a cutscene, I'll just go mad. And the reason why I say that is because why are you treating these cutscenes like they are kind of like patch trailers? You know, it's like they're not being properly respected as something that should be well-paced and about storytelling. Each one of these cinematics, you know, it has everything. It has everything. It's, you know, it's like they have a checklist of like little bit of threat, little bit of personal thing, little bit of this, little bit of that, ends in a very happy note. All of them are like that. And you're like, man, can I have some pacing? Can I have the tone being paced out? No, they're all just, way too brisk. Yeah, I don't know, just creatively bankrupt. Now, as the actual gameplay itself. As for the gameplay itself, I did share some of my thoughts over on the now dead Bird platform. Right, enemy design, broadly solid. There's a lot of voice lines, I think 12,000, which is quite fun. Though, the fact that they added, I think, like a third of the game's total voice lines in just these 3 missions says to me, like, listen, we need gameplay content more than we need voice lines. Change something. I get the voice lines are cool, but if they're a bottleneck to getting quality, like just content out to people, that's not good. Some of the set pieces are pretty great. You've got this like big Jaeger mech dudes, you know, this big chest cannon pointing at you, and that's all quite cool, right? Yeah, so that's fun. Third mission, Gothenburg, really pretty sweet. So when they mix it up, especially in that final mission with some of the turret gameplay, it's actually quite fun. And within the levels, the art direction is, of course, really strong. It's Blizzard. They do that stuff well. Like, even as they've been pumping out more heroes, I look at the heroes in Overwatch, I'm like, man, they've got really, you know, color language is good, silhouettes are good. Okay, I think the Overwatch 1 to 2 transition wasn't quite good for a lot of heroes. They just became, you know, they just kind of bolted some bits onto them, and it, you know, just kind of eroded, I think, the strong fundamentals of some of their designs. But anyway, art direction, good. Like, nice use of color, you know, when you're in Toronto or wherever it is Vancouver, who knows, Canada. And, you know, there's like snowstorms and stuff coming in. That felt good. And certainly the end of the second mission when you're making this dash to the dropship, it actually feels quite good. As for the mid-level design, some of it just feels quite prescriptive. Some is a bit messy. Some of it's pretty good. It's a bit all over the place. I'll cut them some slack. This is their, you know, first set of these, I suppose. Some of the heroes' PvP kits feel just okay in PvE. You know, I'm playing Tracer and I'm fundamentally thinking to myself, oh wow, imagine if there was some sort of talent system where I could customize some of Tracer's abilities to maybe better fit the situation that I'm in. The pricing is, of course, rocky. Fundamentally, these are, you know, it is $15 to get these. And I do not feel like it's worth that. You could probably get like 2 pretty good indie games for that amount of money. As for the cons, you cannot help but compare this to what was supposed to come. Of course, cinematics, which I've talked about before, replayability, there really ain't much, and just the overall value proposition. Overall, I think this is a salvage job, right? This is the best they could put together with what they had left over from the cancellation of their initial scope. That there will be no more until 2024 is an underwhelming thing. And I say that because you really would have hoped they'd have enough stuff banked. But that just says to me, the stuff that they had created for the older version of this game, it needs a lot of reworking and massaging to actually fit the delivery format that they're doing now. And of course, Battle Pass framing sucks. You know, I think about the Season 5 Battle Pass. I thought, screw it, Tracer, I like playing Tracer. Maybe I'll try and get that mythic skin. Whatever, I will try to meet Overwatch 2 on its own terms. So I did. And unfortunately, life got in the way a bit, and you can say that's my fault. But I would also say, maybe if it is my fault, it is a viable user experience in the game that's not good, that will not lead to retained users, and we know retained users is an issue that they're facing. That is, life got in the way, and I don't know if it's my motherboard or my RAM. I've tried reseating all my RAM, so I've got to assume it's my motherboard. Basically, my computer does not like posting anymore. That's very sad, and it meant that I couldn't really play much Overwatch in the way that I enjoyed. Yes, I could cross-play in a PS5, but still, you get the point. So by the time I was kind of able to play Overwatch 2 again, the uphill battle to actually get that stuff, get those mythic skins for Tracer, it was just like not a proposition. It was not realistic without spending a whole bunch of money. And when it's, you know, when you log in, you're like, oh, I just have to buy loads of tier skips to get the thing that I want. Then you realize like, wow, this game hates me. This game fucking hates me. Now, Blizzard, if you want to, in one move, make a humongous improvement to Overwatch 2, make the battle passes not expire. Make them be replaced by the new one, but make it so you could switch them out. Because right now, for what your players are concerned with, you know, Quest Watch or whatever it is, the D&D themed battle pass, it's gone. It's deleted. It doesn't exist anymore. That feels really bad to people. But imagine, like, let's just say me, Mr. Gaming Michael, I want to log in. Let's just say I get hooked in Overwatch again. Oh, I could do the current battle pass. And then when I'm done, I could probably, look at all these other ones I haven't done. I own one of them. Okay, I'll finish that. And then afterwards, like, what do I do? Oh, I may as well buy that one and finish it too. At least then that would be progression that you could do instead of the game just running aground and you consistently having this feeling of FOMO making you play the battle passes. It is the one innovation Halo Infinite did that I'm honestly kind of distraught that the industry has not carried it forward because it's so good. So overall, and that's the situation with Overwatch 2. Look, this is a shot of adrenaline into the arm of the game, but it is not one that has fixed the problem, right? I don't know why I'm going to turn this into a field medicine analogy, but it's like, look, this shot, it's got Overwatch 2 up off its feet and limping around the place, but it's still it needs its bandage replaced. It needs its leg reset. All these problems. Those problems have they've been patched up, right? It's like we have a field tourniquet onto Overwatch 2 now, but we don't have the actual, this game needs to go to the friggin' hospital. It needs good healthcare, and then it'll be fine. And of course, in this weird analogy, that means more of this content needs to be coming out, because the way that you even, you go into the stuff and, you're kind of looking from Winston's perspective at the computer, you can see a nice world there where there's a lot of content you can do. Just that content ain't there. It's a shame. What Blizzard should have done is they should have made it so this could be a separate pillar of the game rather than a supplementary part of their PvP offering. They should have made this a full part of the game with its own sort of progression and stuff. And, really, they should have done it in a different format. Bit of an awkward situation because obviously they needed the money now, and that's why the salvage job has to happen. So my overall rating for this is it is for the fans only. For the fans only, not really for new people. If there is a free weekend that happens and you can play this content and that, definitely try that out, but I don't really know if they'll do that. Yeah, quite rough, to be honest with you. That is the situation, though. So, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. By the way, check out Magic Spoon. They're really tasty. I'm also, by the way, surprised that their milk integrity, doesn't turn into slush. That makes me very happy. And they're a new sponsor to the channel. So, show them some love. Maybe they'll rebook, and that will help us keep the lights on. So yeah, thanks to Magic Spoon for sponsoring today's video. Thanks to you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you next time.